Well, while winter may not be officially here yet, it's too cold out on the porch. So the Great Migration has occurred and everybody's moved inside for the winter. And we're back in the plant room. So join me with a tasty beverage of your choice close to hand while we take a look at 3- and 4-year Hoya updates. And before we get underway, I'm happy to take this opportunity to send out a special thank you to Amber, who bought me coffees this last week, and to Beata, and to Tessie, who sent me super thanks. Your support for my channel is very important and goes a long way to keeping me in Hoya Dischidia, technology and infrastructure. So thank you all very much for your support. And we've got some things in bloom this week. And the first up is a Schlumbergera truncata. At least I think it's a truncata, it didn't come with a tag. But commonly known as a Christmas cactus or a Thanksgiving cactus. And it's loaded with buds. And they just started opening this past week. And one more. This is another Schlumbergera truncata. But this one blooms in this really nice peach color. And of course, I'll have close-ups of both of these. This one too has a lot of blooms on it. This came from my 40-year-old mother plant, and this one is probably 20 years old in itself. And it's really doing well this season, so that's cool. And, oh, come on, there we go. My Hoya Sunrise is in bloom, and I'll put some close-ups of these. This is a plant I didn't know I wanted. It's famous for sun stressing, and I'm not a big fan of sun stressing, but I will grant you that those sun-stressed leaves are very, very pretty. So maybe this one's okay to sun stress. But yeah, very pleased about this. So that's what's in bloom this week. And the first of the plants that have been here for 3 years is Hoya VL9. Now, VL9 is an unknown origin plant. We don't quite know where it came from. It's got that accession number. I'm going to see if I can figure out who VL is. But when I started to take it out, it is just getting ready to bloom. And as far as I can remember, this is for the first time. This vine had gone on a little adventure of its own and was growing outside of the shelves, but uh-oh, somebody else bloomed. There's another seed. Set that right there. I'll have to go over and look and see who's been up to no good. This plant is just gorgeous. Those leaves are really beautiful. It has been suggested that it's related to Sigulatus, and I can see that. But I'm not, I'm not a botanist, so I'm not going to say, oh yes, it is, or it has been, or it was. It's done very, very well for me. It's probably, oh, there's another seed. Maybe. It's done very well for me. It's about, I'm going to say at least 2 feet, about 26 centimeters in length. The leaves are just gorgeous. Well, I keep showing you close-ups of them, but there's a reason. Again, it's been no trouble, no trauma, no drama, nothing difficult, nothing demanding. It just grows. It hangs about a foot or 13 centimeters below one of my grow strips on the top shelf of the top shelf of the grow shelf. I have mesh in the back of the grow shelf, so these all hang on hooks on that gridding. And it's doing very, very well. It's always done well. It's never given me any trouble. So yeah, if you happen to come across one of these, VL9, it's definitely worth picking up. This one came from 2 nodes, 3 leaves on Etsy, and this is Hoya VL9. And the next 3-year resident here is my Hoya callistophylla. Now, Hoya callistophylla is native to the island of Borneo, and that means the Kingdom of Brunei, to Kalimantan in Indonesia, and to Sabah and Sarawak in Malaysia. It was first collected in Nabawan, Sabah, in 2000. First collected in Nabawan, Sabah, published in 2000 in Fraterna by Ted Green. And when this one came, it was a funky, little, bizarre, rooted plant, but just rooted. And it grew up and then down. And there were 2 leaves up here and 2 leaves down here. And I was fairly new to trying different things with Hoyas at the time. So after it was here for a while and did nothing, I snipped it into 2 cuttings and potted them both up. And they sat around for a while and then took off. And it's turned into this very pretty plant, which is blooming this week. So that's very nice. Other than a slow start, this has been not a difficult plant at all. The leaves are just beautiful. That's why we buy Kalimantan. That's why we buy callistophylla. It's not, as I said, it's not been difficult. It took a little while to get established, but since then it's just been a steady grower. It lives on the bottom shelf of one of my 2-shelf setups. So it's approximately 2 feet or 26 centimeters from the grow light. It does not like to dry out, and I try and make sure that it doesn't. It's got a minor root system for as big as the plant is, but it seems to be getting what it needs, and it blooms quite regularly. It's just been no issues. It's a nice little plant. It's really pretty. They're usually fairly inexpensive to find, although there's another one variety that's out now that's all the rage and very hot. And I'm not going to spend that kind of money. It's a plant after all, and it's, no matter how many times they tell you it's rare, it's all over Etsy. So yeah, this one's just easy. If you're looking for a good beginner, that's the nectar. It's a little sweet, but not overly sweet. Let me just. Nectar on my nose. It's okay. It's not a bad smell. For some reason, it's making me think of like peanuts or walnuts or something earthy. A little bit of sweet, but it's just like, I can't put my finger on it. It's a nice scent. It's not terribly overpowering right now. It's late afternoon. So yeah, no issues with this one. This is just a gorgeous little plant. Usually easy to find and definitely worth giving a try to, especially if you're new. You might have to be a little patient, but that's something you learn growing Hoyas is a little bit of patience. So yeah, this one came from the Lawson Plant Company on Etsy, and this is Hoya callistophylla. The next one up is my Polynura broga. Now, Polynura is native to Bhutan, to South Central China, to Assam in India, to Laos, Myanmar, Nepal, and Tibet. And it was first published in 1883 in the Flora of British India by Joseph Dalton Hooker. And I got this one as a free cutting as a thank you cutting with an order I had placed. And the leaves are just beautiful, very pretty, and you may notice some unwelcome visitors. This one is in isolation. it lives in my bedroom, and I had all my orchids in there, and I had ordered orchids from an unnamed, a source to not be named. And after 3 weeks, the orchids were covered in mealybugs. I had never had mealybugs on an orchid in 20 years of growing them. Never, not one. And so the mealybugs, this got in contact with one of the orchids. And I don't think they're the same kind of mealybugs that attack Hoyas, because they've been slow on this guy. And I'm so far been able to kind of keep ahead of it, though. I just sprayed it with alcohol a little while ago. So there's some carcasses, but we'll give it another treatment. This is done really well. I don't want it to touch anything else. It's been a monstrous grower. I started it off under fairly bright light. It was just a short little cutting, maybe 2 leaves, at a time when a 2-leaf cutting of Polyneura Broget was like going for triple digits. So I put it in, pond and self-watering, settled it in. It took a couple of months to get established, and then it just grew. I mean, straight out of the barn. It has branched a couple times. This is a new branch over here from this main branch, and it's a really pretty plant. I never really wanted it because it was, the hot plant, and I tend to not go for, the latest and greatest. But this was all the rage, and everybody was searching for it. And here I'd gotten a free cutting. But it's done well. It's really pretty. Right now, it lives in, as I said, in my bedroom on the wall with western exposure coming in from this side, maybe a meter or 3 feet, 39.37 inches from that window. But yeah, he's doing okay. We're going to knock this mealybug thing back. I had to throw out a whole lot of Phalaenopsis orchids because I couldn't keep ahead of the mealybugs on those. But they don't seem to be as rampant on this poor guy. So we're going to do what we can, kind of try and get him back to peak health and being his beautiful self again. This one came from Koi Moon Plant Company, Koi Moon Plant Co. on Etsy, and this is Hoya Polyneura Broget, not Broget. And the next one up is my Hoya carnosa Chelsea. Now, Hoya carnosa is native to China, to Hainan Island, south central and southeast China, to Japan and the Nansei Shoto, to Laos and Taiwan, and it's been introduced to a few other places. It was first published in 1883 in The Flora of British India by Joseph Dalton Hooker. And I had seen some other people growing this one, and I wasn't terribly impressed. It's just another carnosa, nothing special. And then I saw it in a big box store and just fell in love with those leaves. They are just, I think they're so pretty. It reminds me a little bit of Crinkle 8, especially one like that. Let's see if I can get this a little bit manageable. That'll probably not happen, but we'll give it a try. It has grown very, very well for me. It came from that big plant company that you sometimes find in the big box stores. And it came in that cocoa peat mix that they usually pot them in. And my experience had told me that that's not the best for growing Hoyas long term. Those pots that you find tend to be just a whole bunch of rooted cuttings that have all been, the cuttings are all put in the pot and they rooted, and it's created this nice little full plant that's then sellable. What I tend to do is take that all out of that pot, rinse it all off, get as rid of much of that stuff as I can. I'm not really aggressive about it, but get as much off as I can. And then I repot it in, and this is my standard organic mix of cocoa husk chunks and pumice and bark and some long fiber sphagnum. And it's in a self-watering pot. It's very heavy. Let me see if I can. Okay. And I move it to that. It usually takes it a good 6 months to recover from that move. But when it does, it's just a beauty. It's just a beauty. So this one in the summertime lives on the porch in a northwest facing window. So it gets a little bit of late afternoon direct sun. In the wintertime, it moves into my den where it hangs in a west facing window, but there's a little bit of diffusion from tree branches. And this year, that's where I put my Sansi standing grow light, so it's going to get some light from both sides this year. But this is just a great little Hoya. It grows readily, it grows happily, it gives me no trouble. As long as I keep up my end of watering, it does well. It has not bloomed for me yet, but it's such a beautiful trailing plant. With those just neat leaves, I'm okay with that, you know? It's just a beauty. So if you stumble across one of these in a big box store, definitely worth picking up. No trauma, no drama, no difficulties. It's a good, sturdy, forgiving carnosa, and yeah. This is Hoya carnosa Chelsea, and I found this one from that big plant company in a big box store. And this next Hoya is something of a cautionary tale. This is Hoya species MA03. Now, MA03 is a hybrid, and MA is the accession number of Herman, Mr. Herman. And I've been able to find out just a very little bit. He lives in Indonesia, in Java, in East Java, in Anjuk Ladang. And this is perhaps an affinity verticillata hybrid. Now, the notes I have say, Herman is a Hoya collector from Indonesia, and his collector code is MA. M is apparently from his name, Herman, and A for Anjuk Ladang, where he collects Hoyas. And he's supposedly one of the few collectors or sellers in Asia, in Indonesia, who doesn't go out and collect from the wild, but trades and produces his own hybrids. And it's a pretty enough plant. The picture I saw online when I ordered it had beautiful bright green leaves with dark margins, and I had to have it. I had to have it. So, and I got it. It was not inexpensive. It was still within my range, but it was at the very, very upper end of my range. And it was pretty, but I clearly wasn't giving it the light it had been getting. And so that bright green kind of faded a bit and the margins disappeared. And I wasn't in love with it anymore. I mean, I still like it. It's still a great plant. It's doing very well for me. It's quite pretty enough. But because I had been so mad for it at the very beginning, just liking it seems a bit of a letdown. If you see it and you're interested in it, there's nothing wrong with it. It has not given me any trouble. It needs to get out of this tiny little pot because it's getting a little top heavy, and I think a decent trellis and normal setup would be better for it. So I'll add that to the to-do list. Definitely verticillata looking leaves to my eye. There's a little bit of splash on them. It's been no trauma, no drama. It grows like crazy. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but there's, this had vines up through the whole back of the plant shelf and everything else. So yeah, I don't hate it. I don't dislike it. I mean, that's a really pretty leaf. It's very pretty. It has not bloomed for me. It's nice enough. And so the cautionary tale is wait. If you're mad for a plant, wait. And if you're still mad for it in 3 weeks, the price may have come down. And if you're not mad for it, then you don't need to buy it anymore. So yeah, no complaints about the seller. The seller sent me exactly what I ordered. And I have done business with them since. It's not a complaint against them. It's a complaint with me and not being a little bit more rational about purchasing. But this was early, this was a few years ago. So this came from the Hoya Girl on Etsy, and this is Hoya species MA03. And this next one, you may remember that I mentioned it should come with a warning label. And this is my Hoya griffithii. Now, griffithii is native to South Central and Southeast China and Hainan Island, to Assam in India, to Laos and Vietnam. It was first published in 1883 in the Flora of British India by Joseph Dalton Hooker. And the note on the herbarium sheet says Reg Himal, so probably the Himalaya region is where he found it. And I featured it a few weeks ago because it had just started blooming. It's still blooming. Most of them have gone. I've still got 3. Well, that one's about to open. These are on their last legs, but it's a really nice scent. Slightly floral, a little bit spicy. And the blooms are just beautiful. So good long-lasting blooms. The leaves are just incredible. Nice amount of splash, slightly raised veins. The reason it should come with a warning label is it grows like crazy. It's an insane growing plant. Oh yeah, we need to do, yeah. I'm not even going to show you that because it needs some work. But it's done very, very well for me. Just stunningly beautiful. It's really top heavy right now, but that's okay. This one grows in my southeast facing window, which is right over there when I'm sitting here in the plant room. So it gets a little bit of early morning direct sun and then just the fallout from what else is going on in the plant room. So yeah, this has been a good grower. I didn't know that it was going to do this well for me. So yeah, that's the warning label. You've had your warning. I highly recommend this one. When it gets to be this size, it's really thirsty. I got to keep on top of the watering, but it's a really, really nice Hoya. The leaves are firm. They will not take to bending. There's a slightly raised central vein and raised side veins, nice bit of splash. The back of the leaves look like that. I've now got nectar all over my fingers. But yeah, this is a really, really pretty plant. It's just been a success for me. So yeah, if you're looking for something that's going to take off for you and grow like crazy, Hoya griffithii. This one came from Plant the Studio on their website, and this is Hoya griffithii. next up, we've got a couple lacunosas. Now, lacunosa is native to Brunei, to Java, Kalimantan, and Sumatra in Indonesia, to Malaya, Sabah, and Sarawak in Malaysia, to the Philippines, and to Thailand. And it was first published in 1827 in Bijdragen tot de Flora van Nederlandisch-Indie, or Contributions to the Flora of the Dutch East Indies by Carl Ludwig von Blume. And the remarks say Malaya, so it was probably found by Westerners or collected by Westerners on the Malay Peninsula. People have mixed reactions to this plant. I happen to love it. When the leaves come in, they have this kind of funky variegation. And that transitions over time into something a little bit more subtle, and eventually into something just more or less green. This one has grown very well. This is probably at least, it's getting close to being 3 feet or 1 meter long. It's done very, very well. At first I thought, with that splashing modeling on the leaves, how would I know if it was not happy and not doing well? But that was never an issue with this plant. It has bloomed for me. It has grown very, very long. It lives over here on the side of one of my grow shelf setups. It hangs on the sidewall. It's in a hanging self-watering pot. And it probably hangs about 12 inches, about 1 foot or 13 centimeters from the grow light. And it's just done well. It's just a beautiful, beautiful lacunosa. With luck, I may have pictures of what it looked like when it first showed up, but I wasn't always good about that then. I didn't think I'd be doing this, so I didn't think I'd need that. Just note to all selves, yes, you will at some point want to have pictures of what it looked like when it showed up, so just take them when they arrive. It's gorgeous. I love these leaves. Even when they just go green, they're just really pretty. They're standard lacunosa leaves with a raised central rib and the minor little cupping on the side. Shiny, semi-lanceolate. They're firm. They won't take to that stupid thing. It's just been such a good grower. And when they're new, you get that just neatness. That's very cool. The back of the leaves, for those who are always interested, are like that. But yeah, this is a good lacunosa. This one has grown very, very well for me. Again, no trauma, no drama. So it gets a decent amount of light. It's a big plant. That's a big lacunosa. So it's thirsty. So as long as I keep on top of the watering, we are all good. There's a tiny little bit of splash on some of the leaves, but I wouldn't never call it a splashy plant. So yeah, it's just a good lacunosa. No issues at all. I like this one. I end up really falling in love with that modeling on the leaves when they first come in. So this is fun. This one came from Koi Moon Plant Co. on Etsy, and this is Hoya lacunosa Amarillo. The other lacunosa that's been here for 3 years is Hoya lacunosa Laos. Now, on the original list I found of where lacunosas are from, Laos was not one of the listed countries, so perhaps now we can add it, or perhaps it's just a name somebody tacked on for the fun of it. The leaves are just beautiful. See, just lovely, very, very splashy, very pretty. They get a little sun stressed, and I'm not sure I like that because I think the leaves, just the regular leaves, are pretty enough on their own. This is another one that has done very well for me. I had to extricate this vine. It had grown out the side of the grow shelf onto the back grid of the next grow shelf and had sort of started to attach itself to the wall. Bear in mind that they will do that. They will grab onto the wall, and when you try and remove them, they'll take the paint off. Isn't that fun? This vine is probably close to 6 feet. And if I were really math capable, I would be able to convert that into 78 centimeters, maybe. Maybe that's what that means. If I was too far off, I'll put a correction on the screen. It has branched. It has grown really well. It is just a beautiful lacunosa. The leaves aren't standard lacunosa leaves. They don't have that raised central rib. They're kind of smooth. There's lots of splashing. They are mid-firm. They might take some curling the long way, but side to side, they don't do that thing anyway. But yeah, they're just beautiful. I think this one may have bloomed for me, and if it has, I will put close-ups. And if I have a picture of what it was like when it arrived, I will add that as well. It's just a great lacunosa. It's so pretty. It has grown so well. Again, no trauma, no drama, no pest issues other than the flat mites, which everybody had at one point. But we don't have any more. So yeah, very cool, very fun. I love me some lacunosa. And this one is Hoya lacunosa Laos. And this one came from 2 nodes, 3 leaves on Etsy. The next 3-year resin here is my Hoya incrustata Eclipse, or outer variegated. Now, Hoya incrustata is native to the Philippines. It was first published in 1904-1905, Fragmenta Flori Philippinae by Otto Warburg. And I fell in love with those kind of leaves. And I didn't get any of those for a while. But then I did. And since then, it's been doing okay. There's this big leaf up here that's mostly variegation, but that's okay. We're fine. I think this is very pretty. He and I had some issues at first arrival. It was not happy. There were 2 cuttings in the pot. One of the cuttings was happy, the other cutting wasn't. And so I tried to make them happy. The one that was unhappy was severely dehydrated. So I just kept making sure it had plenty of water, and finally it got hydrated and started growing. And it's actually putting out, there's a new vine, I don't know, back in there. So it's done very well. It's very pretty. It lives back up here on this grow shelf under that kind of light. And yeah, it's just been okay. Once it settled in, once it decided it liked it, it's got a nice little root system. It grows really well. I haven't had any trouble with this one once we got over that dehydration at the beginning. It's putting out variegated leaves. You know, variegation is supposed to be outer on this one, so that's fine. Its variegation is minor on some of them. You can just see that it's lighter along the edges, but again, that's fine. The leaves are big. They are, I would almost say rigid. They are not going to take well to folding. They're very pretty. They're kind of glossy. There's a recessed central rib and a couple side ribs. Yeah, no. There's the back of a leaf, if I can get that to, without breaking it, maybe. Oh, maybe that one. There's the back of the leaf. So yeah, the other one I have the incrusata that with the inner variegation. Oh, it's an easy growing plant and it's growing really well. There's just no variegation. So what can you do? Yeah, we're okay with this one. This one's been fun. I like it. I'm glad it's in my collection. I think it's kind of pretty up there. This is Hoya incrusata Eclipse, or outer variegated, and this one came from Plants Wake You Up. And the only 4-year resident in this month's update is my monster Hoya obovata. Now, Hoya obovata is native to Maluku and Sulawesi in Indonesia. It's also native to Thailand and Vietnam, and it was first published in 1844 in Prodromus Systematis Naturalis Regni Vegetabilis by Joseph Duquesne. And the notes on the herbarium sheet say INSMOLUCC, which I'm taking to be the islands of Maluku, or what we now call Maluku. This is just my monster plant. It's easily 30 inches, if not taller. It's done very well. Oh, little spider resident here. It's done very well. There's a little bit of splash on the leaves. They grow really well. It has bloomed for me. I will put close-ups of the blooms over here on the side. It has gotten very top heavy. It survived flat mites. It survived my learning curve. It's done very, very well for me. Whoops. No. Leave that one alone. You can't play with him. You play rough. It lives over here on the desk, so it gets some light from my essentially northeast facing window, which is on the other side of this lamp, and it gets some fallout. I have a couple little spiders that live over on this desk because sometimes the gnats are drawn to the light in the window in the evenings, and so my little spiders take care of those. Plus I have a pinguicula over here and a drosera over here. The drosera's over there, the pinguicula's over here. So we don't have fungus gnat issues. Don't automatically kill off your spiders. This one is done very, very well. I need to, there's a vine over here, as you can perhaps see, that's a couple feet long. There's a couple peduncles on it and it bloomed this year. So I need to do something with this. It's just done so well for me. It was very reluctant to get going and to get happy. And when it finally did, it's just been a treat. You might see some scarring from flat mites. There's a little bit, but for the most part, it handled them all well. As you know, obovata leaves are typically very round with a slightly recessed central rib. Round is kind of a concept with this plant. They're not all going to be round. Some of them will be, and they'll be just absolutely perfect circles. Others not so much. That could be due to watering. It could be due to light. I don't know. but they're really, really cool. These big leaves up here are probably, I'm going to say 4 inches across. The bigger leaves are about that size. Nice little bit of splashing on them. And no, everybody loves obovata, and there's a reason why. It's just a great plant. So much fun. This one's growing in a self-watering pot in my standard pond, generic pond mixture. It gets medium light, gets fallout light. There's no direct light over it. So that's what it seems to like. It likes my little spider friend here. And yeah, it's very cool. So definitely worth finding. Definitely worth finding. You should at least try an obovata once. This one came from Indoor Plants Inc. on Etsy, and this is Hoya obovata. Now the question for the comments. And as we start off, thanks to everybody who took the time to respond to last week's question about what would present day you say to beginning you as a Hoya collector. You guys made me laugh out loud. Saturday morning, drinking my coffee and reading your comments was just a treat. Great advice, seriously, great advice. Pump your brakes. That was great. When you see a Hoya that you just have to have, pump your brakes. If you still need it in 3 weeks, then, maybe start looking into buying it, but back off on the impulse buys. You don't need all the Hoyas. Yes, yes. One of my early thoughts was I was going to collect all the Hoyas, and then I realized there's over 500 species and a whole bunch of varieties, and well, that's not going to happen. So yeah, you don't need all the Hoya. Get good ones. Take your time when you first start off, because there is a learning curve, and you don't need 30 plants that you really don't know how to take care of yet. Hoyas are not complex, they're not difficult, but they're not like your other aeroids. So yeah, there's a learning curve. Appreciate that. Only buy what you really love. As mentioned, there's a couple things that I was tempted in the moment and succumbed to temptation. And that's part of back on the, pump your brakes thing. Only buy what you really, really love. And a lot of people said they wanted to see a special, lacunosa kind of workshop thing. So I'm going to get that in the works the next day or two. It might be 3 or 4 weeks, because what I think I'm going to do is take some cuttings and start from cuttings and rooting them and growing them along and talking about lacunosa. So yeah, thank you. So the question for the comments this week is, what was your first Hoya? Not the first one that lived. What was your first Hoya? Mine was sigulatus. I bought a sigulatus cutting. It did not go well, but that's what I started with. I still love sigulatus. I think it's just beautiful. It's hanging over there. So yeah, that was my first try, because I could root something, and no, I couldn't. So yeah, in the comments below, what was your first Hoya? And as always, I want to thank you for choosing to spend a little bit of your time with me this week's end. Please remember to click the thumbs up like button, to subscribe to the channel, and to click the notification bell. They all help YouTube promote my channel and help my viewership grow. A lot of the products that you may have seen me use are available through my Amazon storefront, and there's a link in the description below to the storefront. I receive a small commission on the sales, but it doesn't increase your price whatsoever, and it's a nice way to support the channel. If you're in the market for grow lights, I have a relationship with Sansi, and if you visit their website, sansiled.com, and use my code, planted in RI, you get a 30% discount from the prices you find there. I've been happy with my Sansi grow lights, and a couple people commented that they've been happy with them as well. If you'd like to support the channel directly, there's a link in the comments, in the description, which is above the comments, I think, but it's down there, to my Buy Me a Coffee page, or there's a super thanks button down here that YouTube manages for me. There's going to be links to a few more videos over here on the side, and please enjoy the rest of your week's end.